Hey guys, I just want to do this quick video because I'm maybe a few days till I can actually get the time to do it. But I wanted to send you some of these things so that you can take a look at them and know what they are. I'm actually leaving Sunday. I've got a couple day partner event for a company I'm advisor for, and I'm trying to finish my presentations today. You know how companies are; they tell you to talk about one thing, and then the day before they tell you to talk about something else. So I've got to change them. But the one thing specifically I want to explain is this sheet. So these like key ranking factor. Again, I'll try to explain why they're there, but I think they'll be sort of self-explanatory. So I went to Google. I did this query for medical dictation. So the tab is the query. These are the top 5 sites, and then I found you. You're at the number 11. So now with Google Disc Scrolls, you're actually the second site after the ad block. So that's the old school number 12. And when we look at this, now again, forget everything you've learned about search over the years, and then just sort of let me go through. Obviously, you can't argue, but at this point, but let me explain it. I'm hoping it will make sense. The on-page things, there's obviously 3 or 4 things we care about. Number 1, the title tag. Title of the book tells what the page is about. The H1 tag is a heading, sort of the same thing, tells it what it's about. And then body copy, is it about that topic? The one thing I'm definitely seeing here is this thing that I can't really quantify in any way other than when I do start typing medical dictation, I can see what people are searching for, and they're actually looking for medical dictation software. So I'm going to do that. That query, medical dictation or medical dictation software, if we think about that, it's like somebody looking for Boston hotels. They're not looking for a hotel, they're looking for a selection of hotels. So same thing, medical dictation software. They're not really looking for a brand, they're looking for an overview. And this is a big thing that Google's been doing. This is why for a plural of almost anything, motorcycle helmets, hotels, any of that, you'll never see a sole provider ever there again. Because it's plural. People want choice, and that's what I'm pretty much seeing here on page 1. So if we look at who's here, and then title tag, again, all of these, and I know these vendors big or not. I really haven't looked at any of the pages other than to grab this data. This one, VoiceBox MD, is obviously a software, but notice what they've done. They're actually not promoting necessarily the brand name, but that it's medical dictation software. Amazon is here. Amazon's here. I'll show you exactly why Amazon's here. But everything is about choice. And then you guys clock in with a specific solution. So, and this was another thing that I noticed on the crawl, was that when I looked at all of your titles, you really don't have anything that's not branded, either by Dragon or I think it was Philips, and then obviously your own, and then Nuance. So you really, this site is just strictly pretty much a product site. So we might be able to leverage one of your other sites, or that. There's a few other things that are here, like the way it's interesting the way you're handling these parameters on your shopping, like order by popularity. When Screaming Frog comes, it's getting 301s. When I come, it looks like it's a JavaScript redirect. So that's interesting. But the only reason I flagged this is because about 10% of the links, when I come through here on the right, I think it was, internal, 12%. Just looking at internal, about 10% of the URLs are actually, where there's a link, goes to somewhere else. So you're forcing the search engines to basically do a 2-for-1. They come to one page and then they're sent somewhere else. So they then have to index the new page. So that's something I wrote up. I just got to try to figure out why you guys are doing it. And it may be something Cloudflare is doing for you. But clearly you can see here the crawler's getting 301. Anyways, come back to this worksheet. The H1, that's the heading. Again, same thing. These guys at VoiceBox MD, they have multiple H1s. One of them is this. Another one is like something about doctors transcribing. All right, as we move across. So PS Mobile, PS Desktop, that's page speed. Everybody sucks. Google, basically you don't get a passing score or green until you're in, like they have here, red, yellow, green. In your, really, I think it's above 80 or 85%. So the good news is everybody sucks. The bad news is everybody sucks. So if any one person were to go and try to improve this, they could potentially leapfrog. It's not the exclusive criteria, and Google does say that they use it in their factors, but it's one of many. But just think about this. Number one, Google's only crawling from a mobile device. So they're coming in as if you're on a mobile. And if we just look at your score here, they're saying your performance is a 37. Before it takes 4.4 seconds before people really know, what's being showed here. We know what's going on before they know. So this isn't as bad as some. Blocking time, so 2,000 milliseconds. So there's two parts of this. One is, these are all scripts. Let's go back here. So yeah, render blocking. So you have, like when you go to your page, you see that big long list. I'll show you. When you come here, you've got all of these CSS that have to run. It's been years since I've seen this many CSS and this just tells me whoever built this just chucked a bunch of shit in here to make it work. And again, nothing really wrong with this. The page loads, but the problem with all of these is that they all have to be deployed before you can see anything. So this is what it's saying, are blocking the first part of your page. Consider either delivering them first, you can break it out. Hey, these are critical, meaning my page can't be understood until they're actually ran. This is something when you do the redesign should definitely be fixed. Now, the second point is Google's saying all of these things, and these are first party, so these are yours. It's not, these aren't even being used. So there's a function for them that you may have changed, or maybe your template required it, and then now you've got a new template. It's not, but these aren't even being used. But before the page can be rendered fully, they have to be fired. So this is it, and this is 3.9 seconds. Now, it doesn't seem like a lot, but the longer people have to wait to see that, and again, if Google has to choose, and going back to our chart, VoiceBox is at a 49, almost a 50, right? So they're faster. If Google was only using that as a criteria, they would probably serve them first because it's a better user experience. So anyways, just want to point that out. The other one that's big here is, these JavaScript. So we have another 3.4 seconds waiting for these JavaScript to load, and then there are all kinds of tag manager stuff. So it seems like you have a bunch of tracking on there. You just need to decide, do you need all of that? Can you consolidate it? Because this is the problem with using Google Tag Manager is, people are like, oh, it's Tag Manager. It's just sort of out of sight, out of mind. Let's just load shit in there. And then you end up with 50 scripts in there, some doing the same thing, some, not doing anything. And again, these have to be run while the page is loading. So these are all things Google's flagging. And when you look at SEO, I don't typically use this, but hey, let Google tell you. This page doesn't have a meta description. That's easy enough to fix. You crack open the page, drop one in. Google typically writes their own, but like in your case, when you have one of the reasons it typically flags it is when you have choppy content like this. Google, there's not enough on this page, to really, and it's like here, I can't grab anything. So you've either got a script to restrict it, or the way you're presenting this is it's not easy for the text to be stripped out. So this is the only thing Google has available to do it. So again, just write it, what's your claim to fame, put that in, that this, again, it's not going to do anything in terms of ranking, but what it will do is impact clickability. It's also telling you that, your links don't have, you've got to learn more. Again, that's the binder between page A and page B, is a description. Most people have learned more, click here, more info, something like that. They're just saying make it a little more descriptive. Again, it is the binder between two pages. You don't have alt text. Again, not a big deal. In the big picture, one, it is a usability problem. On this, we should just throw it in there. And, don't necessarily put a bunch of crap in, just describe the image. Again, not a big deal. And then they do ding, yeah, mobile friendly, because again, it's hard for people to click this link because they're all jammed up. So again, as you redesign this, really think about mobile first. And in this particular case, Google actually will demote you if somebody's searching on a mobile device when you're not mobile friendly. So that's what this score is. You can see you against everybody. Again, everybody sucks because we want an 80 or better. Desktop, everybody's sort of rocking it, but Google doesn't crawl with desktop anymore. The SEO score came from that test. So again, you're at an 84. I just reran it, so I think, it dropped you to 77. So actually, yeah, so every time you run this, it changes it. I'm going to leave it at 84. But yeah, right now when Google's dinging it, it's 77. So again, it's different times you request it. There could be something else in the way at that time. All right, trust. So remember, what the page is about. How authoritative is it in terms of relevance? How is it in context? The other piece of the equation is authority. So if I have 1,000 pages all about medical dictation, which one of them does the marketplace think is authoritative? And this is done through links. This is what made Google. And so what I use is a tool, this tool here. I actually had to renew my subscription. And what Majestic does is it actually quantifies these. I can send you a link where you can read about this, but two things: trust. The people linking to you, are they trustable? Meaning, do they themselves have links from people who are deemed trustworthy? And topical trust, that's what they also refer to here is, if you get a bunch of people linking to you because they're about bass fishing, there's no correlation or no relevance between bass fishing and dictation. So those links wouldn't be relevant. And then citation, again, it's who used this, who referenced you in there. Now, when we look at this, you have 0 for both. That means who you've been linked, who's linking to this page. And remember, this is the page that Google is showing for this particular query. Now, if you want a different page, then we need to look at that through that lens. But right now, this is the page. And then, so this page has 79 links. You used to have 645. So we can actually use this tool to see who was linking to you and who's not. My guess is that they were a bunch of your network because they were coming from 42 domains. This is the thing. You have 79 links coming from 8 different domains. And then the one I look at is the IPs. So how many, like the IP is, again, why I ask, because when you said you had a variety of sites, if you're cross-linking and they're in the same IP block, then Google discounts them because it's a friends and family scenario. So that's where this sort of comes from. The other thing I do is I look at the people linking to you, their trust and citation. We want something that's over a 20. Now this is out of a 100 score, but I find most things, if you're over 20, that's anything less than a 20 is sort of crap. So I know these guys very well from Majestic, so we've had a lot of these discussions over where to draw the lines. And then the last thing is that I look at is where to go. Now, the anchor text. So again, this was like that learn case. This is the anchor people are using. So you've got one link with medical dictation software, and the rest of these are, you have this one. So somebody's linking to you with your exact text. So this is what's in the anchor from the people linking to you. If we look here at these are the domains that are linking to you. PR Web. Some of these, banklesstimes.com. It's like, pretty much anything on a .info is worthless. So the majority of your links here are from basically throwaway sites. So that's why you don't have any trust and authority. And again, these guys have trillions of pieces of data. They may not have every single one on your site because, it's not a super duper site, but it is pretty directional. And we can see this for other people. Now, this is why I wanted to come back to this concept of context, because you'll see here that the page that's ranking number 1, they don't have any trust. So you and they are the only ones who don't have any trust in citation scores. They have 28 links from 4 sites, and then they don't have any reference to that term, medical dictation, in the anchor text. So that's why they're bad. Now, the one thing here, this percent unique, one of Google's updates was saying, clearly if they're all from the same website, then, or from the same family of sites, we want to, that's not a true authoritative. So it'd be the equivalent of professors from 10 different universities citing your work, as opposed to everybody from Boston College, let's say. The percent links, so again, another update Google did maybe 10 years ago, was people were chasing exact match. So they were trying and paying for people to link to them with this phrase medical dictation, because again, you've got page A, page B. The common binder or bond between them is a link called medical dictation. And so Google killed that overnight. People would pay a premium if you used that. Statistically, nobody would ever link like that. And that's why we try to keep it under 3 to 5% has been my magic ratio. So you have one reference, it's 1.2%. So some of these are right on the border. DeepScribe looks like they've got, they only had 3, but they don't have a lot of links. All right, going back through this. Trust and citation. Now, if we rationalize why certain people are here, so Amazon, again, is a singular product. It's not really here. But if you look at this, they have a decent SEO score. They have the highest trust, the highest citation. So despite this, not being heavily, the strong signals on page being about this topic, it is extremely authoritative. 605 links from 144 sites, 122 IPs. So this is the thing, right? 144 domains, but then some of those, at least 20 of them, are sitting in the same IP. So it's probably, like in your case, one of your other domains, it would be like linking to them. The other thing you'll notice, they're the only ones that have individual links from trust and authoritative sites, which is why, their scores are higher. So at the end of the day, one of the things we want to look at, and the nice thing about this tool is I can actually export these links, see where they got links, and you can go out to them and try to get them. And this is, one of the big scams in search is people will sell you a service to get you links, but they may not be contextually relevant. They may not be on relevant sites because, again, if you put a link on your site to somewhere else, that's an invitation to leave. And nobody on a proper commercial site, nobody on even an informational site is going to want people to leave their site to go somewhere unless it's truly a value add to them. And so that if you keep that in mind, then it's like, oh shit, that's why good quality links are so hard to get, because nobody wants to spend the effort to bring people to their site only to have them jump off and go elsewhere. So that's understanding these pieces. And then, so when we step back from this and we say somebody doing a query for medical dictation, they really want medical dictation software. I bet these numbers will change when I throw that in. And then Google said, okay, this blog post is the most, and then followed by G2, which is, basically the place where people would go to look for software. So from a context, these results make total sense to me. One thing we can try is on this page. I wouldn't want to try it on another page, is at least tweak your title tag to take dragon out of here. Once I do this medical dictation software word, I'm going to add that to one of these. If you guys are ranking in the top 5, which I think you were, I think we're going to strike this. And then you're in context for everybody else. Even though it's a one-trick pony page, let's see, because now it's, one of these things is not like the other concept. Improve the speed a little bit. Again, that's not the only thing we need to do. This score, I think, we don't have to focus that much on it. You're still one of the higher. But yeah, we've got to try to find some links from some quality. It doesn't take a lot, because you'll see here, people have them, but nobody really has any good ones. So this is one of these things where, we can look at what Nuance's score is. See, because again, if you have one from them, where does it go? If it goes to your homepage, we may want to talk to them and see if they can send it to this page. And basically go from there. That's one thing I want to show you with this Majestic. Wherever it is, here we can isolate this to your domain. And we can run this. And so if we look at the summary, so you have a 23 and a 16. So it's not bad. And then you can see how your links are distributed. You have 519. At some point in time, you had 13,000. And you can see this sort of distribution. What's nice is we can actually look at the links and we can see what they're linking to. Again, this is the entire site, but most of your links are to the home page. And so if I'm just trying to see if Dragon's on here. But when you see this, click on Hi website, that a lot of these are actually directory sites and none of this adds any value. But let's say Dr. Jack World keyword ranking. I don't know what the hell that is. But let's just say, sorry, I'm trying to find something that's relevant. Like voice automated. How are you getting a link from yourself? Well, from All Meds. So yeah, this is where it's going to. So let's just take All Meds, right? Because they got a decent score. Or even go up here. Whoever this is. Oh, Citrix. So in 2019, Citrix probably wrote a blog post linking to you, and then they linked to this one. What's interesting is they're monetizing this. They're actually tracking this. This is an ad tracking. piece. So again, they'll probably canonical that out. But let's say this was going like this one. Dragon, this is one of yours, right? So it's linking to your homepage. Your homepage doesn't need any links. So this could probably be better suited going internally. And this is one thing we want to look at is, of all the links to the homepage, did somebody of value, let's look at some of your top ones. So this is, this one here is probably your most valuable page. Again, linking to your homepage. We can go here. Wow, okay. This is old. So you're here. Nobody's going to update this. So what I wanted to do was, if this was relevant, then we wanted to get somebody to update it to, say, an internal page. Like an example, I did this for HP. We had a bunch of like HP color printers and desktop printers. They had a gazillion links because people would do a review or a mention to them, CNET, place like that, and they would say, put a link to their HP homepage because they were too lazy to link to the internal page. In some cases, we would ask them, especially if it's a new one. If it's a couple years old, they're never going to change it. But if they just did a review and they linked to the homepage, we would go back to them and say, hey, instead of linking to the homepage, can you link to this model that you're referring to? So that's another thing we can try to do, is try to see if we can deviate or redirect some of these that we have. If you're members of any association, again, going back to the company whose software it is, trying to get them. So hopefully this makes sense and you can interpret this. Like I said, I'm doing one of these for those top 5 or 6 keywords so that we can see and try to get you a specific direction to go with. But it does sort of take any bullshit or speculation out of this, because I can look at this and see exactly why they're here. Hopefully you can now. And then as I fill in the rest of these, this is in Google Docs, so I'm going to send you this so you can see it. I'll send you this crawl so you can take a look at it. And then, once you get me access to Search Console, I can take a look at some of the other things Google has flagged. But that's sort of the next step, is finish this, and then I'll write up some macro and micro recommendations at the page and template level. And, we can regroup. So like I said, I'm going to be in Vegas Monday, Tuesday, and then I'm actually taking the red eye back. So I'll get back morning Wednesday. So feel free to send me any questions you might have. But I'll try to at least finish this up so you can, see this. And then, once I get access to Google, because that's the big thing I want to see, is how many of your pages. Once I get access inside of this crawler tool, wherever the hell it is, I can actually see, this here, this Search Console, if the page is indexed or not. And that's one thing I want to see is Google flagged it for some reason? Has it got an error? When was the last time it was indexed? Because once we see when the last time it was indexed, and I'll show you what that looks like. It's a totally separate project that I'm doing for hreflang. But we can see in here, these are all the pages that they have problems with, that, it's the wrong page is ranking in a different market. From Search Console, I can get this data. So it's like URL is in Google. And then I can see the last time Google crawled this was July 17th. So in SAS's case, I'm collecting prior crawl. Like I have previous data in here. Like they're like whack-a-mole. They get new errors every day. So some of these we're seeing May, they crawled it. Yeah, it's not. I've got too many markets in here, but we could see most of this was done in May, and then we've got others that they had crawled in like 2022. but it just lets me see, it gives me an idea of Google's tempo of when they're crawling the site. And then from that, we can see, like here's a good one. This one hasn't been visited. The last time Google came was in 2022. So if Google hasn't come in almost a year to a page, then there's something wrong with the page. And so if we can see when Google came, we can get an idea. It looks like popular pages, they're coming pretty much monthly. So we'll get an idea that if you make a change, like change that title like I suggested, or some body copy changes, then we get an idea. Now we can also in Search Console, as you probably know, we can tell Google to come refetch that page once you make a change. And then once I get access to Search Console, I'll show you how to do that. And then, you make a change to it, ping Google. Google will come back typically in a day or so, and then rescore the page. Doesn't mean it's going to rank immediately with the new data, but at least they're coming to visit it. All right. Let me know if you have any questions from this. And like I said, I'll share this file with you, so you can go in and you can post questions here or shoot me an email. All right. Have a great weekend.